A new claim about what Donald Trump knew about the hacked Clinton emails and when he knew it. Meanwhile, his team is on the attack. Trump and Mueller are not talking yet, but will they? One person who knows, maybe, is here. Former New York mayor and Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani. Welcome back. It's good to have you. We'll get to we'll get to the Mueller stuff, as you said when we met. There's something new every day. Omarosa's allegation is not in her book. We have seen no proof to substantiate what she alleges, but it is that she says with great confidence, certainly on television, he knew about the DNC emails before WikiLeaks dropped them.
I know she's lying.
You know she's lying.
I know she's lying because I was on the campaign more than she was. I was closer to him than she was. I was from about June to November. I was with him 24 hours a day. The first WikiLeaks exposure, he was completely surprised. He asked me, do you think there will be more? I told him, I have no idea. But I heard some reporter on CNN, Fox, I don't know where, saying Assange has a practice of putting out the weakest ones first. Then he builds it up, builds it up, builds it up. I said, I think this guy may have more than that. We were surprised every time he did a disclosure. She was not as close to him as I was. If she's saying this, and it's not in the book, never said it before, I don't know if she was interviewed by the special prosecutor or not. It'd be interesting if she ever said it to him.
Would they tell you if they had ever spoken to Omarosa? Do they? So they don't have to tell you anything?
We would only know from our joint defense agreement if she had a defense lawyer who talked to us.
That's not the case.
So we have about 25 of them, all of which were exculpatory, innocent. I don't know, but if it's not in a book, I guarantee you she didn't tell the special prosecutor that. And they're not going to soil their case with her. She's a little too much of a kind of far out.
Well, another person that the president decided was worth being in the White House and someone to have close.
Look,
only the best, Rudy. Only the best. Yeah.
We
only
all
the
have
best.
this. I made a few mistakes like this.
Who?
I don't want to say who.
You don't want to say because you don't have a name that comes close
I do.
to what we've seen come in and out of this White House.
I have a couple that my staff, my friend Peter Power is now gone, God bless him, told me, don't hire this guy, and I did. And
do you think that the president has brought only the best into the White House?
Yeah, pretty much. Jared.
How does he qualify as the best?
Jared's a very smart guy.
I'm not saying he's not. There are a lot of smart people that don't have the pedigree to be in the position of power that he is.
But okay, Pompeo, Wilbur Ross.
Wilbur Ross.
Wilbur is a
because he's a good businessman. That means he's going to be a good public policy
Secretary of Commerce. He's done a great job. Anti-regulation. Clamp down the regulations.
But do you think he represents the kind of ethical standards and what we want out of positions in that power?
I know Wilbur from
conflicts of interest?
Absolutely. I know Wilbur from the time he worked for me. Did a whole big study on the Port Authority for me, and how to straighten out the Port Authority.
But that was from the outside. You didn't have him running the Port Authority.
No.
Because I remember
John Dyson running the Port Authority.
I remember you as a young boy watching you campaign.
I wish.
No, not you.
Wish.
Me, I wasn't around when you were a young boy. But you were someone who was always skeptical of wealth and power. You want to make your money, get out of public service. I heard you say that more than once because you're not going to make it in it, at least not legally. Yeah. Okay, but you know what? I'll give you Wilbur Ross. I'm just saying, in general, you cannot look at the attrition.
Number one guy, Tillerson, I thought was a big mistake because I wanted the job. But I think Pompeo's terrific. Pompeo's terrific.
Right. No, listen, I'm not arguing either about Pompeo. Not whether he's terrific or he isn't, but certainly he's got a pedigree that would put him in play.
I think Kelly's very, very good.
Has a pedigree as a general that puts him in play. But you have 34% attrition already in the people who've had turnover in the cabinet positions. You've had a cascade of wild cards go in and out of the White House. Omarosa is a reflection of who the president puts his trust in.
Well, she didn't have a high position. So Clinton went to two people before he got an attorney general. He got two of them with nanny.
And Donald Trump put Pete Sessions in there, who was supposedly his best friend, and now...
It would have been better if Sessions had a nanny
Jeff
problem.
Sessions, not Pete Sessions. Pete Sessions is a good congressman in Texas.
If Jeff had a nanny problem, probably a lot better. Remember, the first two Clinton people had nanny problems.
Compared
then he ended
to
up
what
with
you're dealing
Janet
with
Reno.
Jeff Sessions, he had to recuse himself from an entire investigation.
I don't know why he didn't come to the president with that. I really don't know. I don't know what the hell he's doing now, but...
Well, because his main duty was to the administration of justice. and he recused himself because he had to, because he was fatally conflicted.
Okay. If he believed that, he should have told the president beforehand. Before he got confirmed by the Senate by one vote.
All right, fine. Let's stay in the present, though. Omarosa, you like to argue in the alternative. If she has some piece of proof that demonstrates that the president was aware of what emails they had, what would that mean?
100% confident she does not. It's not true. He didn't know. I know he didn't know.
And if he did?
I know it even beyond being his lawyer.
If he knew, is it a problem?
No. But he didn't know. He didn't know.
I hear you.
I'm not even going to get into the hypothetical. He did not know.
Okay. Because you get into the hypothetical about Mueller and the Comey.
Yeah, no, that confuses the hell out of people.
Listen, I'll tell you what confuses me. I understand arguing the alternative, and you do it well. That's not the issue. I cannot find you ever saying the president did not have that conversation with Comey until this weekend.
I did all the time. Every time
When?
I gave right at the very beginning, I said, here's the reason we're worried about perjury. We're worried about a perjury trap because the president says he didn't have the conversation about Flynn.
The way
Comey says
the
that
way
he did.
used to say, the way that Comey says he had the conversation, he didn't have it. Not that they never spoke.
Didn't have it at all.
I think that's a new position.
It is not.
But you've never said it
it's not.
before
It
that we
isn't.
can find on the record anywhere.
Yeah, it is. I've said it from the very beginning. I said it over and over again.
Then why do you keep arguing in the alternative if you have high ground that it never happened?
Because I can get him out of it legally. I can get him out of it factually. He's got both defenses.
Makes Comey a crazy liar, by the way.
is.
For this to be true, Jim Comey has to be a crazy
Okay, I'm going to tell
liar.
you why he's a crazy liar. Because he put that in his statement, and in May of 2017, he testified before Congress, I think, that Trump never said anything to him that influenced him, tried to influence him, tried to obstruct him. If that had happened in February, and also if Comey had felt that he was being obstructed,
He says he took it as a direction.
he had a duty to report it. It's a misprision felony, 5-year in prison if you don't. If I'm the director of the FBI.
And the president says to you, do this, and you feel directed, but you don't want to do it, you go to jail?
No, I have to report it.
Why?
Because it's a misprision of felony. It's a federal statute.
So you're saying that if the president did say to Jim Comey what Jim Comey says it is, that there's a crime involved?
Yes.
But only for Jim Comey, not for the president of the United States.
Well, the president says he didn't say it. And the best evidence of it is Comey never reported it. Never even told McCain.
Contemporaneous memos. You know how persuasive they can be in a court of law. Contemporaneous.
I'd like to see the contemporaneous.
Well, you will if there's going to be discovery because of any kind of trial process.
We'll see if it wasn't
I'm
written.
sure you don't want to get that far.
No, we don't. But if we do, I'd like to see if it was written after or before. All right? Guarantee you it was written after.
Well, he says
And if it was written
at
before,
that time.
he got a serious problem. He didn't report it.
I don't see that as a big problem.
That is
Help
a
me
big
understand.
problem. Okay, I'm the U.S. attorney.
Yeah,
Somebody calls me up and says, fix the case.
right.
I write it down and I bury it for 4 months. That's a felony.
But you do not fix the case.
Yeah, but the attempt to influence me is a crime. And as a I'm not a private citizen like you.
Right.
Or me right now. As a U.S. attorney, I would have to report that. I knew that. I reported.
But it is a little, it seems a little tortured,
with
Counselor,
all
it's a
to
problem for Comey, but it's not a problem for Trump.
It's not a problem for Trump because he never said it. Comey claims he said it.
Comey does say it, and he says that he wrote it down at the same time,
Yeah,
which
well,
is
if he
going
did,
to be
he had to
persuasive.
report it. What was he holding it for?
So
he wanted to work for the guy who was trying to lean on him?
So shame on him that he didn't report it.
Yeah, he's a liar.
But if the president said it, then he's a liar.
He's not. He didn't say it. I'm telling you, he didn't say it. Jay and I have said to the president, if you said it, it'd be easier on us. But we can defend it. You just said, go easy on him. You didn't say, tank the case, get rid of the case. You could have ordered him to do it. You could have done a lot of things.
And the president has said to you, I never said any word to him ever about Flynn, ever.
He said, I never.
In that context.
Yes, yeah, pretty much, yeah. That's pretty close.
So Jim Comey made up the whole conversation that he
until
walked
he was in
across the
trouble,
room.
yeah.
He asked the guys to leave, which means if they were to do an investigation and find out from those two men whether or not they were asked to leave that room and leaving just Comey and the president there, there you're going to have corroboration of at least the context of the meeting, that Comey made up all of that about the president and yet never disclosed it to anyone.
Why? Why wouldn't he disclose it to anyone? Why wouldn't he
That's
go
what I
back to
want to know, 'cause
McCabe?
it sounds like crazy talk otherwise.
Why wouldn't he go back to McCabe and say, you know what the president just did to me?
Do we know that he didn't?
No. McCabe testified at approximately the same time that Comey testified that there was no ever attempt to influence any investigation.
Has McCabe ever testified that Comey never told him about that conversation with the president?
Yes, I think.
I don't think so.
I know the first part.
Well, let's do this.
McCabe testified
Yeah.
that up until May, there was never any attempt to influence any investigation.
Just because they didn't feel that they weren't going to be able to investigate, or that they weren't obstructed, or that they did everything the same way anyway, doesn't mean there wasn't a solicitation. Doesn't mean that it wasn't put out there by the president. They're different things.